one last thing I want to do before heading to Moab for this weekend. There it is. This is a part I've been meaning to do for quite some time. And it's been a while since I've dug the rear axle into something. And there's a shot from Parowan down in southern Utah where I slid backwards because I got stuck into some ruts. And the axle actually stopped me from going too far backwards. But having done that, I've been meaning for years and years to get this on there. And the last several trips this year up Rattlesnake Canyon have reminded me I really need more than just the stock protection on the rear. So I ordered the basic cover, and then I got these nice, what do you call these bolts? But they're the nice bolts for it. What do you call that kind of star-headed type deal, 12-point heads. They should be really nice for it. That, and I did actually get the extra gasket. You know, there's lots of theories one way or another about whether you use gaskets or just RVT on these things. I'm going with the gasket. So, a whole bunch of oil, gasket, I drained the old oil. I don't remember the last time I actually opened up the diff and had the oil changed on the rear axle, so it's probably overdue. This should be fun. There we are, so the lube blocker gasket. Interesting, it says it installs dry, no sealant required, will not spit or extrude during installation, full perimeter elastomeric beading, metal base material coated with rubber, superior torque retention. I like it. It should be good. Alright, I didn't expect them to be torqued on that hard. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's all about the leverage. No, something's wrong there. Alright, there's the fun thing about GMs of these year groups. There's such a mix of SAE and metric. 9/16 seems to be a tighter fit. And I actually don't have any of the half-inch drive in American, which is weird. So we're going to cheat. Well, that's gasket material. Boom, there we go. It's actually fresh looking oil as far as gear oil goes. We'll let that all drain out.
What happened?
What happened where, baby?
Where?
Where?
Where? I don't like that gas oil.
It's gear oil, baby.
I don't like that gear oil.
Drain it all out. It looks good and clean. I don't see any sign of contaminants. Which means I've changed it since I've had this truck. Now, one of the things that bothers me about this is just pounding on that with a screwdriver. I see some deformation, some bending of this factory cover. And these things are thin. Really thin. Now, always do yourself a favor, leave that top bolt in. so you don't just drop this pan and make a mess everywhere as you're prying it loose from all the gasket material.
Gas material?
Gasket, baby, gasket.
Gasket? Why did you say gas material?
Gas material, that's what you heard me say? No, baby, I said gasket material. And we're draining the oil out. Your fill plug is back here. And that's simply with a 3/8 inch drive socket. You get that in there and pull her out and you fill it up. This thing takes somewhere in the range of 4 and 5 quarts, so it said. So it's a big beastie.
Oh, that's yucky. We don't want to eat that.
No oil? You can't eat the oil, baby. That'd poison you.
Yeah, we don't want to eat poison.
You don't want to be poisoned.
Yeah, that's why we eat real drinks.
Yes, real drinks, not oil. You're not a machine. You can't drink oil.
If you're a robot, then you could drink oil
Well, robots might, yes.
because it needs oil to help it move faster.
Oh, oil helps robots move.
Because they need it.
Speaking of handy tools, these little dealios. Love that for when you've got a bolt already loose and you just need to get it out of there. Works beautifully. There it is in all its glory. A factory limited slip differential. Funny enough, that's a drain plug on the bottom, so you could drain it before getting to this step. But since I'm already replacing this, I mean, if you're just going to service your fluid, drain it from that drain plug on the bottom and then fill it from the other one. You don't ever have to crack your differential. Which, the advantage of that would be is if your differential is sealed, you don't want to make it not sealed. Okay, just as I was thinking, you need 3/8, but it's 12 point. That's what locks them in pretty good, which makes them really good because it's really hard to strip out something like that. I just want to snug them down a little bit till I get everything started. I don't want to have problems pinching the gasket the wrong way. And these ones I put in first. Now, the mechanics I know can feel free to point out that I didn't torque anything down with a torque wrench. I don't own one. I guess that means I'm that kind of a man. I don't torque wrench. And I just used my cheater bar with my little wrench and tightened them all down to 2 ugga-duggas. I don't know what the torque spec is, and if someday I feel like it's a problem, I'll go get it torqued correctly with someone with a torque wrench. But here's one of the things I'm looking at that I'm really happy with. The other option I was looking at for a steel cover like this, and you look at these are thick, freaking really thick. I think it's 1/4 inch flange and 3/16 on the actual cover itself. That's some serious steel with 14 bolts going around that clamps into this whole axle, making it stronger. The only way to get stronger is probably to do a real solid truss. I'm also looking at, should I back into any rocks, this is not going to deform, unlike that freaking cheap freaking stamped steel factory one. One of the things I'm really looking at that I like with Barnes 4-wheel drive, they do one where they shave off this entire 14th bolt, so you end up with a 13 bolt conversion, and they have just enough material between these 2 bolts to be able to clamp down in that space, and that's good and fine. But I was hoping for exactly what I see here, where I have all of this lip that I can cut off, and I'm about to do that. I'm about to wreck my 14 bolt, right? Not really. Because if Barnes can go and cut off all of that, then this, and that 1/2 inch clearance, there's been times that 1/2 inch would have given me what I wanted. Instead of now it's got that lip on the backside, it's a freaking anchor. It's a plow, it digs you in. So I'm going to cut all that off and gain myself about a 1/2 inch clearance underneath. But I'm still keeping 14 bolts, and I don't mind cutting that off because I've got much more strength coming in with this cover. Otherwise sealed up pretty good. I'm going to cut it off, fill it up with oil, and then we'll be done. Well, not really, I need to paint this. And luckily today, between the 200-degree motor and the sunshine hitting that garage door, it's pretty warm in here. So actually inside the garage, not a bad idea for painting. Alright, psyching myself up for this part, slicing this stuff off. Alright, there we go. So, parts store told me almost 5 quarts, a little over 4 quarts. I just dumped 3 quarts into it, which makes me wonder what the variance is. Does that have to do with having a limited slip, or because everything was still soaked in oil, the limited slip and everything? Either which way, it's in. We got a nice pan of oil here in the old diff cover. I guess that ends up being wasted. But you can see there with that drain plug there, all you do is you fill it in. When it comes up that level, starts coming back out, then you plug it back up. And you know you've got a good level because it should be full that way. I've got the Rusty made a primer on it. Now I'll do the black paint on it after I clean up down here a little bit. Alright, there it is, a Ruff Stuff Specialties fabricated steel diff cover. Fully installed with a lot of the extra parts they give, like those special bolts and the gasket. You don't have to have those things, but they're nice. And since I'm already spending money, might as well buy those too. Just remember, they take a 12.3/8 drive to do that. And I also sliced off just enough of that to give me a little bit more of a rounded bottom edge on that thing, not as much as an anchor. Simple little, what, 2-3 hour project it took me. But yeah, hope it did you some good. Appreciate you watching all this far, and we'll catch you on the next one.